Before I started these PDs and everything, the first thing in my mind was, obviously, you have to look at your health. That's the first thing, you have to look at things. For me, I looked for a person who knows. I got a coach. Also, I did my lab work. You have to do also your lab work to see where you are starting from. The unnatural side is where the people are. Even the people who don't support the unnatural side, they are interested to see.
Sure, even the natural competitions, especially at the world class levels, those guys are not natural. They have their own performance enhancement ways. Maybe they use adaptogens, peptides. You see, your body cannot produce as much testosterone to sustain that muscle for that long. And even cut fat, your body by default is meant to hold on to fat. And that's where PEDs come in. They push us a notch further to let go of the fat.
Yes, we should start with the disclaimer before we go into this discussion.
Okay. The information we wish to share here, everyone is speaking for himself. It is not medical advice. We are not medical professionals. Do not do this at home. Also, we do this for personal. It's personal use. It's personal use of performance enhancement drugs. So, we do not distribute. We do not sell. We just have them, for personal use. And anyone listening to this podcast, if you wish to know anything about the performance enhancement drugs, the best you can do is maybe point you somewhere towards how you will use them safely. The rest, it's up to you. Yes.
Yeah. So thank you for that. So going into now PD usage during prep, there's some of these things you guys have mentioned a little. You mentioned like trend and how it did or did not affect you. What's the basic outline of how that you work that into your regimen of exercise and diet? How does that begin for prep, or is it something you're doing throughout your career? It's just that during prep it goes more intense, or how does that work?
So for me, first of all, before I started these PDs and everything, the first thing in my mind was, obviously, you have to look at your health. That's the first thing you have to look at. So for me, I didn't start by trying out things. For me, I looked for a person who knows. That's where I was. We went with Anthony. I paid for a coach. We listened to the coach. He instructed us to do this, because already the coach has worked with many other athletes. So he has the experience. He's not experimenting with me. You see, you don't get into it blindly. Atiju umeambiwa pale or anything. And also, this information right now is online. YouTube. For me, I was sleeping 12 watching YouTube because I know what I'm getting into. So I want to need the information. I want to know the repercussions. I want to know everything about it because I know what I'm getting into. I got a coach. Also, I did my lab work. You have to do also your lab work to see where you are starting from.
This is checking your blood, what?
You have to do blood work. We don't, at some point people think we just get into it. We don't do that. If you're smart, you have to follow the right procedures. And it's expensive, that's one thing. It's expensive. If you feel you don't have that capacity of doing that, just leave it because it's expensive. That's what I will say. So I got a coach. We saw what he was telling us. And then I got my own coach, the one, so we went through the whole. The other coach was from UK. The other one was from Germany. The one, Sasa, we walked through with him. You see. So for me, I had someone to guide me. I wasn't doing it blindly. From seeing from YouTube. Yes, people from YouTube will tell you something, but they won't give you the whole thing. You see, already for me, I had guidance. And also those coaches already know everything. You see, And also, if a coach tells you something, go and research. You don't just do it blindly.
For sure.
You have to research, go and see what he's talking about. Because people talk about it. Everything is on the internet right now. Everything is on the internet.
Just something you said just before you even started was you knew what you were getting into. For the everyday average person, I don't think when they look at bodybuilding, they don't even have that understanding of what someone who goes into it has to think about. Because they don't, I was telling Anto this, and we've had this conversation before, where when people see bodybuilders or people with those elite physiques, there's the assumption that you just ate really well, worked out really hard. But you're saying that when you started, you knew what it was going to take. I don't think a lot of people have that understanding. And maybe it's because you love it, so you researched enough. But I think it's important. This discussion is important because a lot of people are looking at this still with blinders on. It's interesting because even in my personal life, there's people who watched like what Anto was saying, and it was such a shock to them. You know, they're like, "Oh, I didn't know." So I'm like, but these are people who watch sports every day. These are people who watch the Olympics, but they're not. It's not registering that. This is not. Yeah, sure. There's genetic freaks, but there's a side of this whole competitive journey that a lot of people don't have the understanding about. So is that something that you came about through researching, or were you just knew, like, obviously there's no way of going to the next level without introducing PEDs and all that? How did you come to that understanding?
Sure, there's no way you can go to the obvious researching, and also there's no way you can go to the next level without PEDs, because in that competition that you're going, everybody has used PEDs. And for me, what I've told you, like Anthony was telling you, for me, it's all about winning. For me, I'm not going there to participate. That's one thing. So you want me to go there? I'm like, hey, by them zito lienda Romania. For me, it's not about that. You can't go to a gunfight with a knife. You see? I'm telling you, when I went to Romania, that's when I saw.
I saw things. Yes.
Even I was telling people, our biggest person, Rashid, is nothing compared to what I saw there. Me, I was amazed. Where I knew it was bad, we went with my friend Nick. He helps me training. He's my colleague. I looked at him. The guy was like, on the stage, looking at the people. They literally look. People are monsters. I'm telling you. People are monsters. And then you're telling me to go with whey protein, chicken breast, and pay the flight ticket, pay the house over there to go and compete with guys like those.
That would be a waste of time.
It will be a waste of time and a waste of money. So from the research and how obvious when you research, that's when you come and know in terms of PEDs, you need to go to the next level. You have to do certain things. You see, that's where, for me, I knew I have to cross this line. Because for me, literally in my mind, I want to be the best. Literally, that's what drives me. Even though, yes, business-wise and everything, literally, I want to be the best. The minute it drives me, I'm like, And also, I'm looking at the business perspective. Let me ask you, do you know the Mr. Olympia, natural Mr. Olympia?
The one that measured.
Well, you wouldn't have said. I wanted him. You see,
he pulled it.
You see how he has thought. You see how he was thinking about it. Literally, he was thinking.
But
about
I don't measure. Yeah.
But you don't know. It doesn't come to your mind.
Yeah. You see, but if I would have asked you, Mr. Olympia, you would have known. If I'll ask you, Sibam, would have. You see, already in terms of business, it tells you where the business is. In terms of business, it will tell you. Eventually, it will tell you. People don't want to see this guy. If people wanted to see the natural guys and everything. People will be the ones who are following them. People will be talking about them. But nobody cares.
That's just, I mean, it's the reality. It's the reality.
Even that's what I was telling. Even I tell my clients because also for me, I'm open with my clients. I tell them I'm using PEDs and everything. For me, I just talk to my clients. I was telling them the bad thing about bodybuilding, the competitive side is the unnatural side. And the business side. The business and the competitive side is the unnatural side of it, where people want to see it, but they don't want to talk about it.
This is, and you see that's exactly what I'm pointing to. Because as a fan, you're sitting there, you want to see the freakiest, you want to see the biggest shoulders you've ever seen in your life.
You can't go pull up to a competition to see skinny guys.
For me, even at some point when I see people in Kenya, let's say, talking about it's not good as yes, it's not good for sure. But also, show us your footstep. Follow the guys who are maybe unnatural and where they've got it. You, in terms of business-wise, for me, I'm telling you, I'm a business person. I love business and everything. In terms of business perspective, just show me. Listen to you. Maybe I can listen to you. It's not a good thing, but it's the worst thing about bodybuilding. The unnatural side is where the people are. Even the people who don't support the unnatural side, they are interested to see. They are watching the game. They want to see. Even you'll never see in any bodybuilding WhatsApp people talking about this one has won the natural competition men's physique. This one has. They'll be talking Big Ramy. They'll be talking Sibam. They'll be talking men's physique. Olympia. And
the natural one is just because it's a Kenyan. That's why.
That's it. That's why we know.
And even one thing for sure, even the natural competitions, especially at the world class levels, those guys are not natural. They have their own performance enhancement ways. Maybe they use adaptogens, peptides. You see? It's the word natural, it gets thrown around recklessly. No one will get to the level that you can go check the natural Olympia champion. I can tell you for sure, even if you went to the gym every day, eat 1 kg of meat, you'll never get to that level without
that density. The
density of that muscle. Yeah.
Yes, because he's natural. Yes, he's
naturally your body cannot produce as much testosterone to sustain that muscle for that long. And even cut fat, your body by default is meant to hold on to fat. That's where PEDs come in. They push us a notch farther to let go of the fat. And that's why you see after competitions, we normally work so carefully to get back to return to the normal. Yes. And like those guys, even in the natural Olympia, for sure, they're not natural. They're not natural.
So actually just take us through now the how do you go about the PED usage during prep now?
Yes. So as I said, I have done a lot of research when it comes to PEDs, and he can attest to that. Yes. When it comes to safe use of steroids, I'm the guy you ask questions. Because I don't just hop onto something without doing thorough research. Yes? And research entails the anecdotal research. Anecdotal means experiences of other bodybuilders who used that substance because they share their experiences on Reddit. They share their experiences on forums. Forums that maybe websites that sell steroids in the US, they have forums. Go there and you'll find even IFBB pros sharing their experiences. Anecdotal research is the best. It's the best. Because anecdotal research is simply what is turned into an empirical study. Now that an empirical study is a controlled experiment. So, I don't get my information regarding steroid use from YouTube. Maybe I watch a video or two, but I don't put my thought into it. I focus on podcasts that have anecdotal research and empirical studies from databases like PubMed, CINAHL, JSTOR. Just go out. The information is out there. Now the problem with people, they are gatekeeping this information. They are forgetting one thing. At the moment, it is not the question of whether this one can access steroids, this one can access steroids or not. It is, we are now talking about safe use because everyone now has access to steroids. Yes. Everyone has access to steroids. They are easy to get, they are easy to, you can ship them in anytime you want. Just find out how you can do it. I don't know. Now, the problem is people are hopping on to steroid use with gym bro science. You can never do that.
Yeah.
You can never do that.
Gym bro science.
Yes. Anytime before we do something.
That's where people get into depression.
Yes.
Using the gym bro science.
So anytime, first things first. Anytime before you hop onto PEDs, you have to do a lab work. By lab work, you have to get your liver function, triglycerides function, kidney function,
cholesterol.
Yes, the triglycerides. Yeah. Also, you have to get your hematocrit levels, the blood level. Know how much your red blood cells. That's very important because sometimes PEDs make the blood to become thicker. All those values before you begin. So that one, we use it as a reference point so that whenever we are using steroids and it gets to a point that you are experiencing a certain problem, now you go to the lab, do the tests again, and then we compare. Your natural values were this way. When you're using steroids, this is the problem. Now we can see maybe your hematocrit levels are up, maybe your thyroid hormone has gone down, prolactin hormone is up. So we have to do those comparisons. So one thing people need to understand, speaking for myself, and I can speak for him, we never do this blindly. Yes. We have a lot of knowledge, and we also tend to go outside, pay coaches outside there to give us further. You just listen to what they do because they have more experience. We never experiment. We never do it blindly. And one thing for sure, I saw a guy the other day go on Instagram and said, steroids will kill you. I want him to name one person who has ever been killed by steroids. No one. Steroids do not kill. Steroids have side effects. And there's almost, for every side effect, there's almost a drug to counter that side effect. That's where safe use comes. The only things that can kill you are diuretics, insulin, see? And maybe not even peptides. Peptides can hardly kill you. But steroids, they are not acute. They cannot lead to death. Yes. But they contribute. They can contribute towards your death.
Yeah, they can contribute,
yes.
But they don't lead
yes, they can contribute. If you look at 2020 when everyone was given a COVID jab, that page ile show ya nini wala was recording ito Generation Iron. They had a page that looked like an obituary page. Bodybuilders, including women, they were just dropping dead. But people never bothered to go into research to read about the mRNA COVID jab effect, its interaction with diuretics and maybe the steroids. There was not so much research done. But one thing for sure, there is no one who has ever been killed by steroids. Things that kill you is insulin.
The
diuretics and insulin.
Because like there's a bodybuilder who died during almost competition time. So it was George Brown.
Yeah, I remember.
The next day is Olympia. The day before, it's diuretics.
It's diuretics. Diuretics are the ones that can kill you. And when it comes to diuretics, are basically what we use 2 or 3 days before competition. When you look at how much,
because your body is sensitive at that time.
Because your body is now trying. It's gone into survival mode. Inakatalia maji, and you want to drive all that water from the skin, not from the muscle. You see. So what you do, you take salt so that via osmosis, the water can be drawn from the skin into the muscle because we want the water in the muscle. And remember, you're depleted on carbohydrates. So your body is also even finding a hard time retaining that water. So just taking a piece every time. Do you want to change something? No. So it comes a time, and when it comes to diuretic use, we are normally very cautious. We say, before you take that diuretic, get someone to inspect your body.
Even nowadays, what has happened,
Yes.
due to technology, people are tending to avoid diuretics.
Yes.
Right now, what's happening, water is a natural diuretic by itself.
Water is a
like
diuretic.
The last competition, what happened, the one that I did, I just drank a lot of water. The minute you drink a lot of water, you remove a lot of water.
When you drink a lot of water and you don't take sodium, automatically water just leaves your body because there's no sodium to hold water in the body by osmosis.
And also at that time, we use something called dandelion. Dandelion is also a natural diuretic.
And vitamin C.
And vitamin C. You see, right now what's happening, even people, I heard somewhere in YouTube, people are saying we are moving from the zile with kitambo za kutumia diuretics. Right now people are getting smarter. Even that time when I was in competition, I had to just do a half only of
It's
a
like
diuretic.
12.5 mg.
12.5. Back then people were using even 4 pills. Me, I had to use a half only because already I had started using water. So even at some point I didn't need the diuretic.
Yes. So diuretics, when you watch your diuretic intake and your insulin intake, when you're taking insulin, most bodybuilders especially, I don't think anyone in Kenya uses insulin. Insulin is
it's good. It's good for gains, but like
insulin is very good for gains, but it's very risky.
Why is it so good?
Insulin is the one that drives all the carbs into your muscles, so you'll have that fullness. And of course, insulin is also insulin is a growth hormone. It's a form of a growth hormone because you grow once you have a lot of it in your blood. But now the problem comes when you take insulin, and maybe you combine at home, and you don't have sugar hapo karibu. And by sugar I mean glucose. Yes, and you're just from working out, so there is no glucose even in your blood. The blood sugar is low. That's what happened with people like Dallas McKever. They're from the gym. Guy got home. Of course, you inject insulin like 15 minutes after your workout. Then 25 minutes later, you have to find a way to get glucose into your mouth. So, guy got home, he started eating, just dropped down dead. Because when there's so much insulin in your blood, and there's no glucose to be transported into your cells. Now, insulin starts shutting down the unimportant functions, like your limbs. Like eventually it shuts down your central nervous system, brain dead, boom, you're out. So Dallas McKever alipatikana akiwa amelala tu hapo jikoni with food is in his mouth. So he was trying to eat to get some sugar into his bloodstream. So people need to have the right information out there. Steroids do not kill. Steroids are not acute. People need to be aware of the substances that kill. Yes, steroids are expensive. He said so. And even, it's not the steroids. When you start taking steroids, you focus on real food, meat and eggs.
For sure.
Meat is expensive.
Even, I don't think about whey protein. It's all about food.
I told people the other day, just go eat real food. Why are you taking whey protein? Take that whey protein, throw it in the garbage, or maybe drink it as a beverage.
At some point, let's say right now, what I'll do, maybe in terms of taking whey protein, it's because maybe I'm trying to force feeding.
It's palatable,
I'm trying to force feeding, and I'm unable to. So the best way to put in food, is drinking.
You blend
whey protein with oatmeal. You drink it because at some point, let's say like for me right now when I'm bulking, it becomes hectic to eat food. Hectic. You're like at home, staying like this. You're like, I have another meal.
Yes, you have a meal that you're having a problem taking at the moment. Then you look at your fridge, you have another meal that is waiting for you 2 hours later.
So you're like, the best thing, that's where the whey protein comes in.
Yeah.
The whey protein and oatmeal, that's where it comes in. It supplements the food. It's not the food.
It's not the food.
It's not the food.
Yes.
For sure, that's where it comes in, literally. It's good because you can manage to drink it and at least the taste is much better compared to you blending food. So you prefer, for sure, even right now what I've done, like I have my online client who wants to bulk. I've seen he wants to bulk, so I'm like, hey man, you have to eat. But I've made it easy. He has to eat, let's say, like 4 whole meals, and maybe the other ones drink. It becomes much easier. But if you're told to eat 6 whole meals,
Yeah.
6 whole meals.
So when it comes to PEDs, when you're bulking, there are specific regimens or stacks. We call them stack. You're stacking. It's like you have the base, testosterone. Now you have to stack other steroids according to the kind of body that you want by the time you want to be done with bulking. For me and him, we want a dry muscle. So we focus on the dry compounds. You don't like taking wet compounds. There are those steroids that have
Water
retention. So,
a lot.
But I did my research and found a way to go around the water retention. So nowadays we are on the regimen of, because when you go around with water, because when you retain water, there is the risk of hypertension.
High blood pressure.
And high blood pressure leads to kidney failure. So you have to have a drug to counter that. So people will come here, scare you with hospital bills, scare you with how much.
For sure.
That's just, let us make it, let us have a conversation. Like civilized people.
For sure, what I'll say.
Yeah.
In terms of know what you're doing. If you don't know, you'll go to the hospital.
Yes, don't do it. And if you don't know, look for someone who knows. Pay them. I pay them. I say that for me to give my insights, to sit down with you and give you my insights, and from there you carry on your own. I charge people 5,000. That's just consultation.
5,000 or your life.
5,000 for your life. Yeah. And by the time I'm done with you, I'll have told you want to bulk, take this and this and this. These will have this side effect. These will have this side effect. So make sure you take this to counter that side effect. You see? So this one will have this side effect. Make sure you take this in the morning. 80 milligrams. Make sure you take this in the morning and in the evening. 500 milligrams, 500 milligrams. So I will manage everything whenever I advise someone. I manage your blood sugar. I manage your blood pressure. I manage your estrogen levels. Estrogen is a very notorious hormone. So it has to be managed, not crushed, not killed completely, because you need it for your brain health and everything else.
And also you
need
it for gains.
And estrogen is also anabolic. And you also need it to be not too high, not too low. So for sure, people do not really have so much knowledge when it comes to the use of PEDs. People do not want to do research. People just want to peddle the information that PEDs killed a certain person. PEDs will kill you. PEDs are dangerous. Yes, they are dangerous. We know. We are aware. And we have chosen that route. You see? It's our body. People will talk. But by the end of the day, they will be so preoccupied with their own business that they'll forget. So we need to have a conversation like civilized people on how to now use steroids safely. Yes. So the information is out there. I could sit here for hours and hours educating people, but the same information I'm relaying here is the information that I've learned from somewhere else.
I think I think what's impactful about the conversation and how you guys have started it, yes, is first the relatability. Because see, people know you guys, and I think also locally, like you said, we need to start having the conversation. We haven't really started. You guys have started with your audiences, and I'm trying to push more information through this platform. But I think maybe the relatability side of it, because something else you mentioned before is the hypocrisy of a lot of the people who came before you.
Most people, most people are using steroids out there. Then they're like telling you to take your meat, take your eggs, take whey protein, take BCAAs. Don't lie to people, man. I normally tell people straight up, just take 10 eggs and half a kg of steak, and then go do your own thing. If you know about PEDs, go do your PEDs. If you don't know about PEDs, don't do PEDs.
Yes. Banana creatine.
Even anytime someone approaches you about the use of PEDs, I have to know how much they know. How much do you know about these PEDs? Yeah, so I like listening to their story. Tell me how much you know about PEDs, just straight up. So they'll start telling you, I want this one, it's a fat burner and sort of. Steroids are not fat burners.
Oh, by the way, true.
You can take steroids and get fat, eh?
Yeah, yes, for sure. People do.
With water retention.
Steroids are not fat burners.
You'll become fat.
Yes.
And then you start, and then when you take it, and then you don't watch your diet, you are eating
Yes,
everything.
you're eating everything.
So your body, even the water retention will become too much.
Yes.
And you'll become literally fat.
You'll become fat, yes. People have done it and they have become fat, and now they come now asking, hey, tafanyaje bana ni kama nimeharibu
most, what I've come to notice, in Kenya, the most people I've interacted with, even seeing on their pages, the people who have used it, and they're not competitive, most of them become fat.
They become fat
because they don't know how to use it. They go, take it, eat whatever they want. Literally.
Steroids are managed using your diet.
They're
Because
managed.
the other day I told people, anytime you take a performance enhancement drug, the thing that it does, it comes and gives you, of course, it has receptors on outside the cells. It comes and attaches to the receptors, and now that becomes an instruction that is given to the nucleus. What is in your nucleus? The cells of your nucleus, DNA. So they will give that DNA some instruction. You see? And every steroid has the instructions, the specific instructions that it sends. So they just improve the way your body responds to the stress of lifting weights. And of course, how do you by the end of the day, it is your nutrition that counts.
And by the people think it's a magic pill.
Yeah. No, steroids are not magic.
Me, I'm telling you, Romania was my hardest prep. Even mentally, it was hard. Even at some point, there was a time I had done cardio in the morning, I trained, then did cardio in the evening. I knew I was supposed to do cardio, but I wasn't feeling it. Yani, you're going to the cardio machine, huh? You're looking at this. Yani, you are putting your phone in front of the timer. You don't want to see the time. And then, like, 30 seconds goes, you're like, eh. Even one of the trainers was being told by a client, that guy looks like he doesn't want to be on the treadmill. I was like, yes, so you have to put in the work.
You have to put in the work.
You have to put in the work. People think that, I'm doing it, sleeping, gains, maybe working out a little bit.
I become fat.
I won't lie. The Romania competition was really hard. It was. And then at that point, maybe your coach is telling you, because he is used to seeing how IFBB pros look like, he's like, not there. So even it affects you, like, you have to push. You're on a deficit of 1700 calories. You're training the same. You're doing cardio. You're doing work. Hey. It's not easy. By the way, it's not a magic pill. You have to put in the work. You have to, literally, you have to. And at some point, I'm advising guys, if it's for you to look good,
don't do it. There's no need. You can look good by just doing it naturally. Don't do it. If you're not intending to compete, if you're not intending to if you don't have a purpose that you want to use the PEDs to gear that purpose to the end, just don't do it, man. These PEDs have side effects. They have side effects, and if you do not know how to manage those side effects, you will go to the hospital. Some steroids like equipoise, boldenone, they alter the way your valve in the heart, the size of the valve, and how it taps. Have you ever seen an electrocardiogram of the heart beating? Man, it's usually so. You need to go see even on YouTube. The way the valves in the heart, the way they work, it's like a machine. They have to go check your left ventricle. Has it grown any bigger? So there was so much. And even supplements like magnesium, you are told not to take them maybe 10 days before surgery, because they can interact with the anesthetist drug and maybe ulale na ukose kuamka. So at that time, I had to drop everything for my safety. And I'm that guy who never drops steroids. He knows me, man. At the baseline, when I'm telling you I'm not taking anything, I'm on some fast testosterone. I never drop it. Yes. So with steroids.
Richie, do you drop at some point?
Until right now, I've known only what it takes to become an IFBB pro. Before I used to drop. Right now, I know what it takes to be an IFBB pro. You can't be like this.
Yes, you see the problem with steroids. when you're on a cycle, you gain so much muscle, and you're putting these artificial exogenous injection of steroids and maybe taking other orals. So when you come off steroids, your body cannot sustain that muscle. You see, DNA. Go back to DNA, survival, evolution. So your DNA doesn't have those hormones that were giving it instructions. The hormones are no longer giving instructions. So what does the body do? Homeostasis balances everything out. So the body inajiuliza, why do I need all that muscle? I'm struggling to get the BMR to that level of your muscle. So mbona nahitaji? So eventually it starts losing the muscle and you factory reset. If you go off steroids and you stay off steroids for like 4 months, maybe even you're stacking them and you stay on testosterone for 4 months, you start losing muscle. You can see it. But that's
I recall some of these personalities you watch on YouTube when they have major surgeries, and you just see how, and then it's not people who say they take PEDs, but you just see how their physiques shrink during healing times, and you're like,
that guy who was called Robert Frank, that guy who has videos, he talks loud like, this just day, then he takes the conversation to your girl. Like, yeah. During COVID time, I think COVID struck him. Bro, if you could see him. He was on the brink of death, but somehow he made it. But right now he has regained his muscle, all of it back.
Even Mike Rashid, I remember at some point he had like an arm surgery. He started looking like normal, regular. It's like, oh.
Normally when you get surgeries and all these things, you go off steroids because you're not working out. So why take them? Steroids are supposed to be used for a specific purpose. For him, IFBB Pro card, and he knows what it takes.
I want to become an Olympian. Huh?
Yes, he wants to become an Olympian.
Even win.
Yes. I was having a conversation the other day with a guy at the gym. I normally hold these conversations with people, those who are old enough to talk about it. And I told him, sometimes I think about Olympia and I'm like, I'm scared. Kwa nini uko scared? Whatever it takes to reach that size that you see those guys, Brandon Curry has like the best physiques. What it takes, the time and everything, your body is crying for help every day. Just pushing PEDs, all kinds, peptides, steroids. You're pushing everything, adaptogens. It takes a lot and
it's not easy.
It's not easy. It's not healthy.
Those guys, huh?
Yeah.
They don't know the work there.
So I told the guy, I fear that I can kill myself with them, man. Because if you want to go to that level, first of all, you have to use growth hormone. Insulin. You have to use insulin. You have to use IGF-1. IGF-1 is a peptide. Your brain already produces it, but you have to inject it. Also, you have to use things like myostatin inhibitors, the GDF8. What is that? It's a peptide. It's a peptide that's myostatin. The other day I talked about the myosin. Our body cells are the muscle, they're like myosins connected by muscle fibers. Fibers now they become muscle fibers. So myostatin. So myostatin is a substance that your body produces that limits your genetic capacity to grow past a certain limit. So when you inhibit it, you can now grow past your genetic capacity. So by default, when you take steroids, they reduce your myostatin by some degree. But when you take a myostatin inhibitor, now you become like those guys you see in Olympia. Yes. So it's a combination of peptides, workout regimens, food, a lot of time, a lot of rest. Of course, you gain muscle when you're resting. And I think I'll leave that to him, the Olympia thing, because I'm afraid of it.
So you've let go of that.
I'm afraid of going down that road because I know I might die. I'm not taking PEDs to die. So with my PED use, it's for my intrinsic value. And I told you the other day, I intend to become a coach to an extent that I can coach people even outside Kenya.
You're more interested on the coaching side, eh?
Yes. I told you, we have never gone to, we never take PEDs to go in local competitions.
Yeah, for sure.
I take PEDs to go look at the guy on the mirror. This is the much progress I've made up to this time. So I need to change this PED, this PED, this PED. For instance, we are in April. In 2 weeks' time, I'll be changing my stack. Because the stack that I'm using currently, there are some side effects that I am expecting, and I have already started seeing them. So I have to drop it. So I will change my stack into substances that have less side effects so that my body can take a break. And if you don't have that information, you'll be the guy outside there peddling information that steroids are bad. No. Let me tell you something. Every like 9 out of 10 athletes, world-class athletes you see out there, all of them enhanced. NFL guys, soccer guys,
Even
rugby guys,
Even baseball.
athletes. How many athletes have you seen on their dark page? Banned. You see? Everyone, baseball. Any athlete that you see,
You know,
who doesn't,
for us, it's because it's seen physically. For us, it's seen physically.
yes.
It's seen
Yeah,
physically.
so it's a business. It's a business. Any athlete who is doing something that is supranormal, enhanced, for sure. It's only that they cannot come out and say it like I do. I'm saying this because I own it. Yes. I know what I'm doing. I know I'm doing it safely. It's my body. And it is giving me what I actually want. I'm getting the results. So, why not?
And also, for me, what I would say, also for me, I don't want to tell people, at some point, the level that I'm going, that Olympia, maybe men's physique, classic physique, I wouldn't want to lie to people that this is the way maybe whey protein and people expect to reach at that point.
No, unless we are selling whey protein, we can't lie.
Yeah, so at some point I don't want to feel like a hypocrite, because at some point I'll feel bad by myself, because you'll be like those people who don't want to be seen they are using people that are saying, and there'll be a lot of propaganda.
Yeah.
You see.
Yeah.
So to avoid that, also to avoid misinformation for people, for me, I'm like,
Yeah, I could call it misinformation. Yeah. I take steroids, then encourage people to take whey protein. Yeah. That is the misinformation we are trying to deconstruct here. If I'm taking steroids, I'll be honest about it.
Even ask him, I was the first person to admit. Even he did.
Actually, when we had the conversation, he mentioned that I hadn't watched what you put out, but he said, hey, by the way, Richie had, they said Richie has started this conversation.
Richie was asked on the nitty, and he had told me he intends to do a whole YouTube video about it, and I think we'll carry on from here. I'll go to his yard, and maybe you can do some workout while discussing PEDs. That would be good, man.
I think this is the beginning of a new day, I think, overall.
Because, one thing, most people in Kenya are using these things. Because even I was telling some of my friends, they're like, usijaribu, usipeane siri. Like,
why not?
I'm like, if I don't give out, iwa inakusaidia na nini? Inakuletea pesa, inakufanya uwe tajiri.
That's the problem. Now that's the problem. Why are people gatekeeping this information? Unaona? Mbona, why should I gatekeep? Why should I contribute towards gatekeeping that information? I will gatekeep that information, and I'll tell you, these guys, someone who is determined enough will find those steroids, and they will take them. And they will take something like Anadrol. Shut down their natural testosterone production. They did not have someone to explain to them that when you take this steroid, you have to use this zone as a baseline. You see? Now, after 2 weeks, after 2 months of use, now they have even gone to the extent of erectile dysfunction. Now they start wondering, where did I go wrong? Do you know, once you reach a point of erectile dysfunction, naturally your body takes up to 6 months to recover naturally. But with the right peptides like HCG and clomiphene, you get to that level within like 3-4 weeks. So it's a matter of giving out the right information. No more gatekeeping of this information. There's absolutely no reason for gatekeeping this information.
For me, I'm like, people, why?
Yes, why?
Why? If you hide it from me, you didn't gain anything. If I tell you, maybe I've gained something, even though I don't. It doesn't change anything, literally.
You see, if I share this information with you, Kanyeki, and maybe put you on a steroid regimen, then I know jitafutie kwa nje, because I don't sell steroids. I have nothing. I have lost nothing. On the other hand, you will have gained something. Unaona? You'll never forget me. Ile siku utaandika book yako story hivi, utanitaja mahali.
Even at some point, when I did that, people came and in respect, they're like, oh, that's good.
Yeah. People really, did you see the comment on the your YouTube video? People are looking for this information. Yet
people really appreciate.
Some bodybuilders are busy gatekeeping.
At some point, it gives me business, my online business. No. So people think that because I've said like that, nobody will buy my ebook. Nobody will
now. Your personal training customers will now start saying, "You are telling us to do this, take this, and this." No,
nothing.
When they hear you say that, they even come now.
They come even now because they know what you're saying. They know the information that you're giving out. You see, for me, all my clients, but I'm like, me najua kile nataka. I want to go to the Olympia.
Hey, nothing but respect to you guys, because I have even my bro who is abroad. He was like, "Hey, yo, like, how is this conversation happening?" And it's a new day. Yeah, I think we live in a world where if you're trying to still live in this behind the veil with a lot of things today, like you're saying, the online world it's here with us, and online exposes.
By the end of the day, people will find out, and they will get snippets of information that they will not be able to piece together to find the safest route of using these performance enhancement drugs. And before it gets there, it's very necessary to have a sober conversation. If anyone feels out there that this information should not be shared, I say sorry. It's a new age. It's a new age. Yes, if you're saying that these guys are sharing too much, yes, of course. We just have to let people know.
Yeah, it's very important. And I think today's discussion was supposed to be about bodybuilding, but I think we've brought out other things which are even more, which are still as important to discuss, because some of the questions were to do with the specifics about bodybuilding. But I think what I appreciate about the discussion today is the fact that all factors held constant, exercise, sleep, diet, whatnot, when you're looking at competitors, it's a different world. Yes. And we can't be looking at it with the lens of a normal person. Richie has said how he knew he was crossing a specific line. Yeah. And I think that's the thing that I wanted to get across with the bodybuilding discussion, especially because, like I was telling you, bodybuilding is in the back of people's minds when they think about fitness. It's the image of a fit body. Yeah, so and it comes with the good and the bad. It comes with the misconceptions, and it also comes with maybe some of the oversimplifications about what you guys do in your profession, and which is why having honest conversations about it is important. And I think this particular one is very crucial because it's a big part of it, and it's the main reason why there's a clear distinction between someone like me who just enjoys getting a pump and general fitness, and someone who can step on a stage and like win competitions, and like someone who just, you know. So yeah, I think this was good. I think we can close up this session. I think at this point, every episode we keep opening new cans of worms. But any last words before we finish this conversation?
You can go first. So, as we have said, in terms of bodybuilding and also PDs, at some point when you're planning to, let's say, when you know your goal, or if you want, let's say, to compete, know what you want first, for sure. Know if you're willing to go an extra mile to get what you want, or is it worth it for you? And also for the upcoming bodybuilders, keep up the consistency. Just be consistent, show up to the gym, and eventually you'll know if you want to compete, go ahead further, or maybe stay, have that fit lifestyle, do your workout, enjoy, or maybe you want to come compete like us. At some point, it's all up upon you to know what you want eventually. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess we'll be back here. I don't think you have had enough of our conversation. Now, when it comes to bodybuilding, I would simply tell people, attach some value towards your goal. Attach some value. For me, you are to explain, I'm the intrinsic value that bodybuilding and performance enhancement drug gives me is what sets me apart from everyone else. It is what makes me believable. Sure. If I'm coming to sell you something, if I am serious about selling you something, Kanyeki here, for sure, nitatoka hapa na kutoanisha ngiri 10. Yes, I'm believable. You have seen me do it. You have seen me lift weights. You've seen me post my diet plans. You have seen me post the food that I'm eating. I have told you clearly I'm taking PEDs. Don't take PEDs. They are not good for your health. So attach, do bodybuilding with a purpose. Don't just do it without a purpose. Then once you attach a purpose and you give it it gives you the intrinsic value, then you can become anything you want. Simply put.
Nice. Asanteni. We'll see you on the next episode of the show. Thank you guys for your time today. I really appreciate it. I appreciate the honesty and the information. Please keep coming back. Anto, I don't need to tell you that. I know you'll be back. Richie, karibu tena. Hopefully. Yeah. Please, actually, let's finish with that. Give us where people can reach you.
I'll be there. So, you can get me on YouTube. Already, even the journey that I'm talking about, Romania, I documented the journey for my Romania competition. You can get it on my YouTube channel. For me, it's just my name, Richard Gitau. On Instagram, Richard_Gitau. That's where I'll be passing all my information and everything. And also, I have a website, www.richardgitau.com. Richard Gitau is my brand. So, anyway, Richard Gitau, just know it's me. If we can interact more, maybe you can come follow me on Instagram. That's where I'm always active. Ask me a question, you can, and I'll answer you. And we'll do everything to keep you informed. You see? So,
I don't need to say where you find me, man. I tell you this every day because I'm a regular here and keep.
You find him at Represented Studios.
Find me at Represented Studios. I'll be back for more information.
Nice. Asanteni sana. It's a wrap.
Thank you for listening to the Shujaa Fitcast. For more information and business inquiries, email us at shujaafitnesswarrior@gmail.com. Follow us on social media at Shujaa_fitness on Instagram, at Shujaa Fitness on Facebook and TikTok, and subscribe to our channel at Shujaa Fitness on YouTube. For audio versions of this podcast, check us out on Spotify, Boomplay, and Apple Podcasts. This show was recorded and produced at the Represented Studio in Nairobi, Kenya. Special thanks to Lucid for the background music.